Welcome to Return to Eden. I'm Charisse Parton. Today's guest has spent decades in the health and nutrition industry and is passionate about empowering you to tap into your body's own healing potential. Welcome to Return to Eden. With me again this week in the Return to Eden studio is a certified holistic health coach through the Institute for Integrative Nutrition and product development manager for professional grade supplement and body care line, Eden's Essentials. Welcome, Daniel Bell.
Thank you, Charisse. I'm glad to be here.
With me again is board certified holistic health practitioner, Joe Horn. Welcome, Joe.
Charisse, good to be here.
Okay, guys, so last time we saw how incredibly difficult it was for us to get through anything in that small amount of time. There's a lot of education there, so let's just get right into this. So last time when we were here together, we were unpacking the incredible benefits of Eden's Essentials professional health grade supplements. We learned that not all supplements are the same. You know, they're not all equal. The majority of food manufacturers are using synthetic, isolated forms of nutrients. And this gets me to thinking about people with chronic inflammation, you know, that they've got pain, they go to a big box store, they get something off the shelf, and then they never, ever see any difference. And so my question for you, Daniel, is anything that Eden's Essentials has, is that going to address chronic inflammation and joint discomfort?
Yes, we do. But before we get to that, let me just recap a bit for what Eden's Essentials is.
Right, for people just joining.
For people just getting into knowing who we are. We decided a couple years ago to start a nutritional line of whole food, clean supplements to provide to our customer base, and because it is such a dirty game, and so we
supplements is a dirty
it's a
game.
dirty game, and so long before we launched, I spent a year working on just who we're doing business with.
With 20 years experience, having worked with some of the largest box stores and chain stores and whatever, Daniel came to our company totally equipped to look through the smoke streams to help us distill down who were the manufacturing partners available that would meet with the efficacy of what we wanted. And integrity to create a whole food-based series of supplements and personal body care
and
products.
And obviously, you know how dirty the game is. This is why we got along in the beginning, and here we are. But to your question, Charisse, about inflammation and pain, and we definitely have a number of products that really address this because you know, things that reduce inflammation are not just anti-inflammatories, like antioxidants are also anti-inflammatory and things like that. So we have varied products that do that. Mushrooms would be another really great one for inflammation and pain. We have some antioxidant support that would also be good. We have quite an array of things that really can address immune and health support, but the one we're going to get to first here is our Eden's mushrooms.
Okay.
It has a really massive array of benefits. It doesn't just cover immunity. It doesn't just stay in that kind of lane. It has all kinds of cognitive benefits, blood sugar benefits, inflammatory benefits, respiratory benefits. Like the studies are overwhelming in their density of how profound they are, and it just keeps coming more and more. And but also for the purposes of what a lot of people are going to be concerned about, immunity is going to be a big part of that.
Sure.
But first, let's just talk about maybe one of the things that distinguishes our product a bit from others outside of the formulation, and that's going to be the fermentation process of it and the cleanliness of it. It is non-GMO. It is organic, and actually we don't have that on the label right now, but we will on our next batch, but that it already has those classifications, which guarantees a certain level of quality. But the real probably big product that we carry most directly associated with pain and inflammation is our fermented turmeric. And to kind of recap just a little bit about what we're really searching to do as a whole, and especially why I like to go with the powders, is you can control dosage, but more importantly, these are fermented. And we had covered in a previous program a little bit about why that's so important, but let me cover it just a little bit here again.
You never know who might just be joining us for the first time. You say fermented and it's in a powder. Wouldn't a capsule be handier? And turmerics are not all created equally. So go ahead.
And fermentation is king. Turmeric is known for this. It is a difficult to digest the structure to get to the curcuminoids itself. And curcuminoids is really that big seller when it comes to turmeric. And it's powerful adaptogen, helping with physiological stress as well as mental and emotional stress.
That's huge.
It's been shown to have some anti-cancer and anti-tumor properties.
Yeah, specifically in the colon for those that are trying to work on colon inflammation, colon disease, colon health.
Yeah, when we ferment it, the bacteria metabolizes the turmeric, and there's also some ginger in there as well.
Yeah.
When it metabolizes that, it creates a lot of byproducts that are very, very healing to the digestive system as well. It makes it a probiotic. It makes it a prebiotic, and it makes it a postbiotic. A lot of people are familiar that a probiotic is good bacteria.
Or they've heard the word, but
they've
don't
heard
know why
and
it
don't
works.
really know what that means. Well, we need those good bacteria in our digestive system, and it controls a huge amount of the way a body's genes turn on or off over the course of your life. And so when I say prebiotic and postbiotic, what that means is it has constituents that promotes the life of those bacteria and then after effects of those bacteria. And those are really
in the gut.
In the gut.
Because a lot of people that might be new to the idea are hearing you say bacteria in the gut. Shouldn't we be taking, antibiotics to rid ourselves of bacteria?
Which is the opposite.
No,
it's actually the nature of our problem.
Like you can't digest for any kind of gains at all with your health if you don't have enough of what Daniel always calls the ecology of the gut, the gut flora.
Yeah, and so it's this gut flora, gut bacteria, gut microbiome.
You need the good guys.
But, I'm not going to unpack this right now, but I'm going to say it because it's really exciting about the bacteria they've discovered in between cells. And so this is not just in the gut, it's literally everywhere, inside of everything. And this turns on and off outcomes. So it's really important, we'll leave it at that. So you get a lot of side benefit with a product like this on ways that there's just no time to cover. But let me cover the kind of the big highlights, which is going to be the curcuminoid action in it.
Curcuminoids from the turmeric.
And these are really what is the stars for regulating inflammation, reducing inflammation, and having these key function areas that elicits this natural response that we're meant to have to make us well and to heal and recover. A lot of what happens when we take things for inflammation is they're usually synthetic. And that means the body can't store it. It can use it, but the body identifies it as being foreign. And so it moves it to the liver, and the liver will create fat to put it in because it's actually doesn't belong in the body. We're taking these things because we don't actually have real nutritional-based anti-inflammatories that reduce inflammation and pain for us. And that's what this does. Those curcuminoids build up in the body, and there's other nutrients as well that our body needs and can identify. That's why the synthetics are so poorly used by us and causes a lot of baggage, a lot of downstream.
That's why, I have a personal friend of mine who had hip replacement surgery because of an injury, and he went through this whole gambit that so many Americans are familiar with, where they end up on an opioid or they can't get the opioid, so now they're taking 9 ibuprofens 3 times a day. And what he said about the liver storing it or trying to remove to purge, then you end up at the doctors. This friend of mine, I'm sorry to tell you, sir, that you now have fatty liver. Well, why does that matter? Because your liver is the body's biggest filter, and if that's clogged all up, it can't work on maintenance. It can't work on detox. This is the beginning of disease, methylation pathways, and a whole bunch of shows we don't have time for today.
Something I really like about our formulation, too, is that ginger.
Yeah, me too.
I really like that.
Ginger with turmeric.
Yes.
Why is that so key?
They're greater than the sum of their parts. So what they found is in the studies when they combine these things, that it is more than turmeric is by itself, and it's more than ginger is by itself. And ginger, just for the folks at home, because we haven't really discussed it, is a very good digestive aid. It has anti-inflammatory properties itself, natural antiseptic properties. There's really a lot of benefits. And together, they're more than they are alone. And I'm an advocate, and you know this very well, that spices are one of the best tools you ever have for your health. And we should be using them in abundance in our diet and lifestyle choices. At the same time, it actually, unless you're fermenting ginger and turmeric together, you can't equal what would be in this product. And again, I'm an advocate for people doing it in their lives, and a lot of this is playing catch up with trying to get enough nutrition back into the body so it can function properly. But this is like just a super concentrated form of that with all of the materials unlocked. There's no baggage. It's as clean as it can be. It's super simple, just 2 ingredients.
And it's got the
Yeah, and it's a great daily tool.
So if a person's thinking capsule, he said something about a powder.
Yeah.
You can easily take this in a smoothie or just mix it directly in water.
Yeah.
There's a scoop inside.
Yes.
So it's already,
Ready to
like
go.
ready, set, dose.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? You just
exactly.
level
That's
it to
a
the
great way
top,
put it.
go.
I love that the turmeric and ginger. That to me, it's like it's the best friends on the playground.
And this is one of my daily
Yeah.
cocktail that I make every day with the fermented mushrooms and then the
Right.
fermented
And
beets,
so
which
many
we'll
of
cover.
us that work here.
Yeah, it is amazing how far we've actually converted some of the people here to doing these
Praise
things.
the Lord.
We live in a small town,
Yeah.
and it's really shown by the evidence. That's why people are here in our studio and in our warehouses and stuff like that are moving
I
all
know.
to kind of do these
I know.
products.
Sure. Daniel, I want to switch gears just a little bit. We've got another product that I want to talk to you about.
Yes.
It's interesting to me. We've heard how essential a mineral called zinc is, that the body can block reproduction of viruses that are responsible for respiratory infections or things of that nature. So what makes the type of zinc that Eden's offers stand out for anything else on the shelf out there that the viewer might find?
You hear a lot about zinc now.
Oh yeah,
Oh, my
well it's
gosh,
because
yeah.
it's one of the things we really struggle with. It's a micronutrient, and let me give it just a little bit more of what else it does, just
Okay.
really briefly, because
Yeah.
this is a
Sure.
key functionary in all kinds of different
Absolutely.
enzymatic actions,
Yeah.
and that's where the body's using chemicals to break things apart or heal tissue or do different kinds of things. And it also is related to nerve health. It's related to muscle health
Wow.
and cell signaling in these places. But to come to immunity,
Yeah.
one of its many beautiful properties. But it's also directly related to endocrine health. So that's thyroid function,
Right.
adrenal function, which is a system.
Which is,
Yeah.
So it's a really key in that. So if we don't have enough of this that has so many jobs, we
Right.
break down in these ways. So what makes ours stand out? It is the form that it's in.
Okay.
Right.
So zinc
Okay.
is a metal,
Yeah.
and zinc is very difficult to absorb. Most zinc
Right.
supplements are zinc oxide or zinc carbonate or something to that effect.
Okay.
Ours is zinc sulfur heptahydrate.
Wow, that's a big word.
Yeah, yes. and
can't
the
say
thing
it.
is, you have to be really exacting with these
Sure.
languages because the smallest bit changes everything.
Yeah.
So this is a hydrated form of zinc, and that makes it much more bioavailable to the body.
And again,
makes
for those
sense.
joining, bioavailable. Why is that so important?
Right. Well, it's tied to what I was saying about it being a metal, and metals are actually meant to be converted by plants and things like that, either into a plant we'll eat usually, or nuts and seeds, or even animals. Will
Right,
animal
right,
eat
right.
the plants, and then we
We get
like
them,
everything again is in the soil. It's
Yeah.
all in the soil, and if it's not there, and our foods are so devitalized, our soils are so destroyed, these things just aren't there. The main thing of genetically modified organisms is it was usually done so that it can accept other like weed killers, and like glyphosate
Sure.
would be the big one that we would be talking about. But there would be a whole bevy of reasons why we would modify these away from their original design. It's very difficult to play catch up with these essential nutrients. They're essential. It's not like up for debate. It's
Right,
a very
right,
literal thing in science. Ours is really about that form,
Okay.
and that form makes it highly bioavailable.
Bioavailable, basically in a nutshell, means that it's ready for your body to absorb
Yep.
and either use and store or
Maximize
convert.
it.
Yes,
Yes.
right now,
Yeah.
without having to first
Just-
torment methylation to try to
Right, your whole
convert and
body.
find a cofactor to,
Right.
to bring in to,
Be able to use
yes.
it and
Yeah.
pack it.
So,
Yeah.
and bioavailable is a huge part of the laborious function of the body when you take something foreign or not meant to, like
In
a
a
zinc,
form-
for exactly,
Right.
in a form that is not meant for your body to try to
Exactly.
torment itself into absorbing or using for something.
Exactly. That's just it. Just distilled water and this form of zinc.
Wow.
Because it's just as clean as it can be. It's as simple as it can be, and it's the most absorbable form that we're aware
And
of.
I don't think until, I don't know, 2 years ago, I had ever heard a mainstream push for
No,
zinc.
I think you're
But with the
absolutely right.
introduction to so many of these new viruses that are totally consuming the
Now
news,
you hear it everywhere.
Yeah, doctors are talking
Every
about vitamin C and
article, every
zinc
tweet.
being very antiviral.
Right.
Yeah.
What
it's-
it does to help strip the shape of the virus down unto death.
The studies just show massive malnutrition. Almost every American is malnourished. I mean, there's
Right.
exceptions, but like it's overwhelming, and
Oh, absolutely.
It's so like when you look at the data from the National Institutes of Health and who's perishing and
Right.
downstream
Why?
effects of having these infections, viral infections and things. So much of it is, in my mind, when aggregated together and put together, that so much of our struggles come from malnourishment.
To start with.
Just at the most base level, it
Right.
makes sense why we're in this position and why we won't get out of it without fixing our nourishment.
Also, issues like infertility in men. Every male supplement that you see that's supposed to help the production of, healthy cells and also testosterone.
Yeah.
Things like this, you'll almost, it's a patent staple of any protocol is to include a bioabsorbable version of zinc.
All right, guys, thank you for saying testosterone, because recently I'd listened to this fascinating podcast that blew my mind, which it's not hard to do. The doctor said that was speaking that 50% of men's testosterone is made up in the skin, and 75% of women's estrogen made in their skin after menopause. And after I heard that, I really got convicted about some of the lotions that I've bought for both myself and my husband. What does Eden's Essentials offer in that line?
Well, you kind of raised something very important, because we started the show talking about inflammation.
Right.
And so often people that do eventually come full circle and start looking for ways to lower inflammation, and often find out that the conventional, traditional ways are have consequences over time,
right,
that then want to switch to a natural approach, will eventually stumble upon something like a curcuminoid or a turmeric, like we talked about, including the diet, the things you eat. But Daniel and I talk so often about, it's not just, and you know where I'm going, it's not just what you put in your body.
Oh my goodness.
It's what you put on your body.
It's your largest organ.
Which is one of the reasons we push so hard, and Daniel can talk about this in a second, but it's one of the reasons we decided at Eden's Essentials to introduce an all-new personal product line. This includes hygiene products, and it's growing like leaps and bounds. And Daniel, I want you to talk about some of the things that we have, because I saw an article the other day, MD, by the end of the day, most Americans will be exposed to as many as 11,000. 11,000.
Every day?
Every single day. In the course of a person's average day, be it something that's an air freshener, or they walk through the...
So that's your kids, that's your mom, that's your grandma,
it's the plastics that are in your car, it's the deodorants
it's your lotion.
Lotions, aluminum-based deodorants to suppress, what we're meant to do, which is sweat.
Right.
It's the toothpastes that have everything from rendered animal byproducts to fluorides, et cetera. By the time a person has, had their pesticide-riddled coffee,
there you go.
Shampoos with bisphenol A and phthalates, which we're not going to talk about today, but just suffice to say, these are xenoestrogens that tinker with your body's ability,
hormones.
if you're a man, to produce testosterone, woman, produce estrogen. People end up estrogen dominant on both sides of the aisles. They're literally bombarding themselves
daily
with chemical overload. Absolutely. It's the plastic cups we drink out of. It's the automatic coffees that we drink. Styrofoam cups, everything. It's constant. So 11,000 on average. Most Americans will experience at least 11,000 exposures of something toxic every day. Now ask yourself, if the liver is the body's biggest filter, why are we experiencing a ravaging now of viral overloads, disease, chronic conditions, inflammation? So again, if we're going to deal with inflammation, it can't just be that we change our diet and nothing else. We have to deal with what we're putting on and in our body. And as a person with MTHFR, which is methylene tetrahydrofolate reductase, we're not going to go into this today, but it's a genetic challenge that I've talked about in previous episodes that I deal with. It means that my body is way more sensitive than maybe someone else to chemical exposures and things. I've got friends, Kathleen Hackman, one of my good friends / partners in this whole thing to figure out the detox, and I've learned a lot from her. She's very sensitive as well to shampoos and conditioners and toothpastes and deodorants. And
I had an aunt that had to go to Mayo to figure that out.
Also, we walked ourselves here. Like this has been done through these bevy of issues that you're talking about, being constantly exposed all the time.
All day long.
In all these ways. And we cannot describe how much this matters.
It matters.
Because when you're talking about hormones, you're talking about the way you feel, you're talking about the way you think. If I was to talk about fertility studies, what's coming down now, it's terrifying.
It's very scary.
It's in the lining of our little boys' diapers.
Yes.
Exactly.
So again, we really cannot overstate what you put on you and what you put in you all affects your hormones, feelings, thoughts, reproduction, such a massive amount of things. So we launched an entire personal care line. We have 3 shampoos. We have 3 body washes. We have shaving cream. We have multiple lotions, chapstick.
And very soon we will have toothpaste, and we're gonna keep pushing this until we can cover your whole experience.
And as I've talked to you before, we want to change the game. If it revolves around health, we want to do it.
No,
we want
sure.
to be somebody that has curated and investigated to the length that it takes to know that we're providing the best thing we can. Nothing's perfect, but we're working on it and we're making it better. And that's so much of why we launched this line, because we realized, and as I've said many times, and as you definitely know, supplements is a dirty, dirty game.
Very dirty.
It doesn't hold a candle to personal care. Personal
Boy,
care,
is that true.
It is so pervasive. It's a miracle that anybody feels normal.
Right.
But it
For a
explains
while,
why we're all struggling through this psychosis that we're going through.
I
so
blame,
it's a lot.
in part, the 20 years of autoimmune disease, and I've written about it in my books and stuff, how God walked me through all that. I'm telling you that a massive contributor was my ignorance to what I was putting on myself. You know, the fact that I struggled forever with low testosterone, and why I have no energy and my brain fog is overwhelming.
You don't hear it anywhere.
No, by noon I had already had my fake coffee with my fake toothpaste, with my fake deodorant, with my fake shampoo, with my fake, you know what I'm saying?
Absolutely.
And my body is going, what is this? So let's hit it.
Okay, so I am a very discriminating consumer. Shock. I know, you're shocked. Our lotion is so luxurious. Daniel, you nailed this.
Yeah, I felt pretty
If
strong
I
about
buy
that.
it, you nailed it.
No,
That's true. That's true.
I don't use, just for the people at home, I never use lotions. I don't like them. I use oil.
Right. They're sticky.
You know,
They make me feel like I gotta wash
extra
my hands.
virgin
Yeah.
oil,
Right.
you know, like either
Coconut,
like a coconut or
hibiscus
even
or
a
something,
sesame
right.
or something to that effect. And this is as clean as you can get, and it is luxurious. Like, I can really tell. I
it's
use it.
incredible.
So for the first time in my life, I've actually like a lotion.
What are the ingredients? For people that are curious, what would a typical lotion maybe include that
goodness.
is a disaster for hands and body absorption that is not in this?
And feet. Us girls, you know, everything goes through the feet like that. And that's one of the first places we go is our feet, because it's sandal season, or it's, you know, I got date night shoes on.
Well, and again, a lot of this is going to be words that maybe we'll get to someday, like
Sure, I
phthalates.
realize I asked you for a month's supply of programs in 2 seconds.
And I don't want to
minutes.
disorganize our viewers.
Well, then just focus on what's in this.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. So the first and main ingredient in here is one of the most nourishing oils for the skin, which is argan. Perfectly natural oil, really great for the skin. It has aloe, shea butter, jojoba, organic green tea, and that's it.
You
Simple.
just are
No pesticides,
luxuriating.
no animal byproducts,
Yes.
no phthalates, no bisphenol A, no xenoestrogens.
No silicones.
All of it is nourishment. And actually, kind of the unspoken rule in personal care at high levels that matter is if you wouldn't put it in your mouth, you shouldn't put it
So
on
it's
your
a
body.
That's
skin
right.
nutrient.
Yes, and so
Okay.
not everything is perfect that way, but
Gotcha.
it's supposed to be that way. That's the basis, is like we should be able to actually eat it. When you turn over your average lotion bottle or shampoo or whatever it may be, you'll see a list of ingredients like a mile long. You can have something that's actually like, I mean, feels great. It has just a few ingredients.
And
I
you
can
know
count
what
them on
they
my
are when you read the
hand.
label.
Yes, I can
Right.
count them on my hand.
Right.
Well, you know, in talking about ingredients, Daniel, I've been reading that there's like a huge class action lawsuit over significant brands you probably have right now in your bathroom. And shockingly, some of shampoos have upwards of 15 toxic ingredients.
As opposed to none in the Eden's
Nothing. That's
shampoos.
right. And this one, the lemongrass and eucalyptus, I love because again, very discriminating, especially about my hair care. This in the shower
You get
for
teased
me,
a little bit about how OCD you are about
I'm very
personal
OCD.
hygiene
I'm
and
very OCD.
products, right?
I am very OCD, very.
Yeah.
What is it you're always saying, H to H?
HTT.
Or HTT, head to toe,
Head
yeah.
to toe,
And she does
head
the
to
little
toe,
thing with her
head
hand,
to
yeah.
toe. But this smells amazing. It's not, I don't wind up with this big foamy, I look like, you know, a cartoon character. My hair is
Very slick,
clean.
yeah.
And this is the 2-in-1. Most 2-in-1s that I've ever had historically. All right, here's a 2-in-1. Now I've got to go get another conditioner, even though this is a 2-in-1, because that is not conditioning.
Yeah.
This is spectacular.
Yeah.
And the scent is amazing. I love the way it smells in my shower, on my head, how my hair smells.
Yeah, and we have another scent, tea tree and peppermint.
I
We also have an
love tea tree.
unscented for those who don't want that, because
Well,
some people have like olfactory,
No,
like
sure,
smelling
sure,
issues.
unscented.
So we're trying to cover all the bases. So I'm trying to
And
make sure I
tea
bring
tree's
in.
huge. Tea
Yes.
tree's huge. You know, if
and
you've
tea
got
tree's so good for the
kids-
scalp.
No,
as
if
a-
you've got kids in school, there's that little bug every year that comes out when school starts
Right.
and coats get hung next to one another. Having tea tree in a shampoo that's clean and toxic free for my kids or my grandbabies,
Yeah.
that's what's going in my bathroom.
Yeah,
Right.
tea tree oil is well known and shown to really work well with anywhere from dandruff
Right.
to bugs.
Right.
You know,
Yeah.
and
those,
it is.
those
Every kid's been through
anti-dandruff
it, yeah.
shampoos,
Yeah,
oh my garbage.
yeah.
And just really quick before we run out of time, because
Yep.
I got to throw this in again, as a guy who is kind of sensitive to things that I put on my skin, for years always had to be very careful shaving against the grain of my neck beard, because there was always this price for a day and a half where it
Yeah.
turns red and it's very sore. The Eden's Essential Shaving Cream.
Yeah, we didn't leave.
I
the men
don't have
out.
to deal with that anymore.
Right. Like I said, I didn't want to leave men out either. So this, because
Right.
it is just
great
as relevant
product.
to
Right.
them.
And I have to say it with a low voice and everything, of course. But
Deep
you know,
Deep
Yeah,
no,
yeah.
it's very nourishing. It's very soft. I really love our shaving cream.
Yeah, and-
it's all I use now.
Yeah,
That's
and we
awesome.
also have got some great body washes, which we really didn't hit on, but it's
We
a
will.
charcoal.
We will. We'll
Same
get there.
principle.
We'll
It's
get
a
So-
there.
charcoal and white lava, and you can actually feel the particulates in it. It's very cleansing. We have a bergamot lime. We have a pink grapefruit. We have an
Awesome.
unscented in there as well.
You got to visit edensessentials.com.
Yes.
We're trying to
Check
do our
out-
best to
yep.
do it all.
Yep.
It's tough. It's tough. Well, folks, we are completely out of time. I am Cherie Spartan. Thank you so much for spending part of your day with me. Eat better, feel better, live better. We're going to learn more together next time on Return to Eden.
Millions of Americans are suffering a health crisis epidemic right now completely unnecessarily. But what if I told you it didn't have to be this way? The truth for many is that the real culprit of modern disease is simply a lack of God-given knowledge. In Unlocking Eden, we provide hopeful, scientifically supported revelations regarding how you can access freedom from the bondages of disease. Skywatch TV is proud to announce the Unlocking Eden Special Collection. From the importance of detoxification, circadian rhythm, intermittent fasting, and unburdening metabolic pathways to maximizing immunity, methylation, and absolute essentials like quality sleep, Unlocking Eden is filled cover to cover with groundbreaking information that can help unlock the body's natural healing mechanisms, which can revolutionize your health and your life. In this incredible special collection from Skywatch TV, you'll also receive the Unlocking Eden Companion DVD, featuring the entire 4-week television series on Unlocking Eden and special content with my co-author Daniel Belt and I on securing some of nature's most powerful antiviral nutrition during seasons of virus, flu, and so much more. We're also including the never-before-released special edition Eden's Essentials publication featuring special reports on gut health, chronic pain and sleep management, fermented foods, and so much more. You'll also receive the Eden's Essentials Founder's Vision DVD, featuring interviews with Dr. Thomas Horn and Daniel Beltonai on our vision to provide nutrient-dense supplements derived directly from non-genetically modified foods, grown from clean soil, free of pesticides, herbicides, and biosediments to achieve the highest degree of health possible. Sold separately, these items hold a retail value of over $150. Yours now for a donation of only $35 plus shipping and handling. So revolutionize your health, maximize your immunity, and restore your vitality. The Unlocking Eden Special Collection, available now at the Skywatch TV store online. Order now or call 1-844-750-4985.